talking to all these people, so bear with me, guys. I wanna thank everyone for coming this afternoon. I appreciate coming out in the cold, yucky weather, but it is November, I guess. A special thank you to my cousin Sandy and her husband Wayne. They came up to support, heckle me from Denison. And I'm sure this is a little like homecoming for Wayne, because where we are sitting right now is where Wayne used to live, but he lived in Odebo, so it's changed a little bit over the years, I'm sure, hasn't it, Wayne?
Yes, yes.
So, as Carrie and I talked to many people during our travels, we realized that so many of them had never heard of the Freedom Rocks. They had no clue what we were even talking about. So we try to get the word out the best we can, because the rocks are beautiful, the landscaping, it's well worth the trip to stop. This afternoon I'm going to give you a little information on Iowa's Freedom Rock Tour. I hope that this will inspire you to stop and visit them on your journey. They gave me a clicker, so bear with me a minute clicker. This is Ray Sorensen. He's the artist behind the rocks. Him and his wife own a mural painting and photography business in Greenfield, Iowa. Can you roughly tell people where Greenfield, Iowa is, Gary?
It's up by Winterset, off of 80 on Highway 25, Stewart area.
So we're late, so we gotta sit in front.
Yeah, you gotta sit up front.
You'll never be late.
Yep.
We'll stand this chair back here.
At the time that Ray painted his first rock, he was an art major at the Iowa State University. Ray thought it would be a cool tourism draw to have a Freedom Rock in each of Iowa's 99 counties. The Freedom Rock Tour, which started in 2013, was Ray's ideal to expand the message of the Freedom Rock in his mural painting business, as well as promoting Iowa's tourism. Most of the rocks are located in small towns, providing these towns with a unique tourist attraction and tell the story of their notable local heroes. Ray's ventures have now led him to paint at least one rock in each state. I know he's painted in Minnesota, Missouri, he's got one in Nebraska. He's got more than one rock in some of these states. Ray also started the Freedom Rock Foundation to cover the expense for the care of the rocks, their landscaping, and any damage they sustained from wrecks, flooding, and vandalism. In the early 2000s, the original rock was vandalized. A veteran found out who had done this and beat the person up. The veteran was arrested and fined $90, which his fellow veterans paid for him. And I don't think they've ever had problems with the rock since then. Apparently each rock's home community looks after the rocks. Sorensen and his wife want the foundation to take responsibility for the rocks. Some of the rocks we've seen have just started showing some damage. Where was that little rock at that it was?
Up by Sioux Falls, there was a sandstone rock, and the sandstone part was kind of starting to stain the rock.
As of 2021, all of Iowa's 99 counties have a Freedom Rock. He then wanted to do a 100th rock, so he accepted bids from the counties with the highest bid going to Ankeny, and the money going towards a veterans charity. The Ankeny Rock was dedicated today, and it is set up down by Adventureland. Let me try to make sure I got the right rock, what I'm gonna say. Gary and I have seen the original Freedom Rock. This is the original Freedom Rock down by Greenfield in Adair County. Carrie and I have seen the original Freedom Rock a few times before our journey to CL 99 began. So in 2016, we decided to put this at the top of our bucket list, and the journey was on. We met many interesting people that could say that all the rocks are not in county seats. The town the rock was to be placed in instead is decided on a first come basis. This is the original Freedom Rock, located in a rock quarry just north of Greenfield in Adair County. The rock is 12 foot tall, 60 to 90 ton boulder was dug out of a nearby rock quarry in the late 1960s. Since it was placed so close to Highway 25, it was frequently covered in graffiti. In 1999, Ray asked the construction company who owned the quarry if he could pay a tribute to our military in honor of his Uncle Ted, who served in the Vietnam War and was treated poorly when he came home. Ray continues to honor veterans with a new mural on his boulder every May. Ray paints the Freedom Rock on his own with tremendous support of family and friends. He is not commissioned to paint the rock, but he's able to do so with his generous help of donations. The rock has become a national attraction. When the group of people get together to decide what to be painted on the rock, I think they all put in their stories, but the final say is from Ray as to how the rock is to be painted. This is the Mitchell County rock located in St. Ansgar. It's a 7-ton boulder and moved to St. Ansgar from a field west of Carpenter. This rock wasn't really a Freedom Rock until Ray launched the tour and needed an example of what he wanted to do. St. Ansgar does not have the Ray's official signature because of being a sample rock for the tour. Now, if you look in the left-hand corner, that's how all the actual Freedom Rocks are signed. So if you ever see one that doesn't have that signature on it, then that is not part of the Freedom Rock tour. This is Mitchell County. Okay, I went through all that. This is Boone, okay. The next picture is to show how some of the towns landscape their rocks. The first rock is in Boone and shows that there is no landscaping. We have not been back to Boone for a while, so he may have had some things around the rock they might have landscaped since then. Some of the rocks, we were like right behind him. He might have painted today and we were there tomorrow. It's just the way it worked out for us to do it. As you drive through some of the towns, please note that there are some of the rocks that want to be Freedom Rocks, but they do not have Ray's signature as this one does. The next picture is in Whitmore, which is the northern part of the state. This is what, just north of the grotto.
The grotto.
So, this is probably one of my top 10 favorite. It honors the Purple Heart and the Gold Star mothers as they are handed a folded flag to honor the loss of life. Carrie, that's to the right, that's the park. To the left,
The sidewalk was shaped like the purple ribbon.
and everything is pretty well done in purple.
Purple.
Carrie was impressed with the airbrush artists that did many of the plaques along the fence. Depending on the landscaping, some rocks could run up to $50,000.
This guy that run the body shop there did all this airbrushing, and I think there's like 5 or 6 of those murals like that helicopter one around this that are airbrushed. Just did a fantastic job.
He did a good job. Has anybody ever stopped to see some of the rocks? You're just getting started.
3 or
really.
4 is always
I
the,
said, you just kinda getting started on your journey. Sandy's been seeing some of them.
13.
13?
Yes. All right.
Well, make sure you.
The circle will
that
get
circle
bigger.
gets bigger and bigger. Okay, gotta pay attention to what I'm doing. Chickasaw County's rock can be seen in Lawler, Iowa. Make sure I had Chickasaw. Ray was painting this rock when his grandfather Ray passed away, so he hid his name in the painting. Carrie and I looked for it, but we never did find it. The skinny side of the rock is a representation of the Chickasaw tribe for whom the county is named for. They were forced by the U.S. to sell their land and then moved to Indian Territory in Oklahoma during the era of the Indian removal in the 1830s. This is Davis County Freedom Rock, located in Drakesville. It was neat while we were looking at this rock to hear the horse and buggies going by as we were among some of the southeast Iowa's Amish. We were there at about 5 o'clock and there were more horse and buggies in town than there were cars and trucks. It's pretty awesome to see, but you really gotta watch when you're driving down the road
Yeah.
because they're just all of a sudden they're there. Harrison County Rock is located at the Harrison County Historical Village and Welcome Center. This rock features, is her name Zoe or Zoe?
Zola, yeah,
Zo-
Zola.
Zola, okay. Who is the mother of Bob Leonard who lives here in town. Zoe would become part of the largest contingent of women in the military. She was part of the U.S. Army Cadet Nurse Corps. She's since passed.
She's passed.
Okay. This is Grundy County's rock, can be seen in Conrad, Iowa. It is the smallest rock on the shore. The rock features a B-12 bomber in the city of Grundy Center. It was a tradition for pilots to name their planes, and Lieutenant Harold Leffler decided to name his plane after his hometown of Grundy Center, Iowa. O'Brien's County Rock is in the town of Sanborn. It was the tallest rock on the tour. As you can see me standing there next to it, I just look like nothing. And then we went to Pottawatomie County, located in Oakland, Iowa. This rock is the largest rock on the tour. The rock is 10 feet high, 13 foot long, and 10 feet wide, and weighs 82 tons. Can you imagine finding a small rock poking out of the dirt in the field, and the rock committee says, let's dig this one up? This rock came to be because of 6 ladies who formed a coffee club. That was pretty awesome. This rock is located in Fairfield, Iowa, which is in Jefferson County. This shows the rock before and after. We did not see Bubba paint this rock, but we did see him in Kingsley and Anthon, and every time I tried to take a picture of him, he would move out of my shot. Just like you didn't want to be part of the picture taking process. Was Fairfield where the college?
Yeah,
Oh, that's college.
that college, those college buildings are strange.
Yeah, Fairfield, the Maharishi. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The Beatles went there for
Yeah.
transcendental meditation.
yeah, it's a big area.
I was there.
This is Lee County's rock and is located in West Point, Iowa. I learned from this rock that Keokuk has a national cemetery, which I just never thought that we even had a national cemetery in Iowa, so I was surprised. So on one of our road trips, we stopped and checked it out. The burial of Union casualties continued to be buried in the city-owned cemetery until 1866, when the city of Keokuk donated the soldier section, thus establishing this national cemetery. That was pretty hilly. That was,
It was hilly, but boy, there wasn't a blade of grass out of place. It's just, it's very perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
it just,
this is Albia, Iowa's rock, located in Monroe County. As we were going, we were just south of town, we found this awesome Veterans Memorial. Some of the towns have some super nice veterans memorials, so if you see one, take the time to stop and check them out. What was it, like a 40-acre?
this one's like 40 acres, and there's trails. There's a statue of a bugler that plays taps every morning. You know, it's just, there's a big
This one,
wall
if
with
you
a lot
guys
of
ever see
names
it,
on
it's
it.
well worth stopping and
Yeah.
checking it out, but it'll take you a while to see it all.
And it's right along the highway. You can't miss it.
No. Now when you see all those flags.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Sac County's rock. This is Sac County's rock, located in Sac City. On top of the rock are 2 different veterans' ashes mixed into the paint that's in the stars. So many of the rocks have ashes in them at some point. This is, and I put these next 4 rocks on just to show how close some of these rocks are to us, so you can't say that, oh, it's too far to drive. It's what, maybe 100 miles from here to Vanilla away from us. This is in Carroll County, and this is located in Manning, Iowa. The rock came from Dedham and stands 9.5 feet tall. Manning was one of the 2 places in Iowa where guards were stationed at railroad trestles guarding against sabotage during the World War II. He said on his Facebook, on his webpage, is all these stories that are in these books that he wrote. Thank goodness, so you understand why they're there. This is in Crawford County, near Manila, or located in Manila, Iowa. This rock honors Sergeant Casey Byers and Staff Sergeant James Justice. Sergeant Casey Byers, who was the first Iowa guardsman intern at Arlington. Una Vista's rock is in Albert City. After World War II started in 1942, Superior Manufacturing in Albert City business started an ordnance plant where they obtained government contracts to make 20mm shells, shell primers, and bomb parts. You don't think of some of this stuff taking place in Iowa, you think that's more on the coast, I guess, or something. This is Ida County's rock, and it's in Holston. If you've not seen it, be sure to find the time to do so on Memorial Day at least. The flags that are displayed with the Freedom Rock are spectacular. Ray was told Ida County only has American Legions in their counties for veterans organizations. Does that make sense to your Legionnaire girls?
Say that again?
Ray was told that Ida County only has American Legions in their county for veterans organizations. I didn't know what that meant for sure. I took it out of his story, so. Okay. With that in mind, the front features the American Legion members saluting with some of Ida County's killed in action in the background. When you visit the rocks, be sure to walk all the way around them as they are all painted on all sides. Finally, after 5 years, we made it.
Finally.
I wish that I had kept track of the miles and the people we met. From the veteran in Ottawa that looked at my rock books and I wasn't sure if he was going to give them back, to the people that took the time to talk with us and tell us how proud their community was to have a Freedom Rock. As you can see, I'm in county just shortly after Ray finished. Notice the tape is still around the rocks. Thank you, Carrie, for taking me every mile. We only took a few wrong turns, but we made it. I hope my next venture will be to find stories on the actual rocks, such as height, weight, and where they came from. I've talked to some people in different towns that could not answer these questions. They thought I wanted the story on the rock, that was painted on the rock. I said, no, I want the story of the rock.
And this rock was actually supposed to go in Cedar Rapids. Cedar Rapids applied for it, and evidently either couldn't raise the money or something. So that's why it's the last rock we seen and the last rock painted. And they messed around, and finally Sorensen wanted to get done, so then Central City took it over and they got it done. But that was the only one of them that we ran into where they didn't get them finished when they started them. A couple of them had to be moved after they placed them, but
Because of visibility of the
visibility
street
and
corner.
property lines and whatever.
There is one rock in Rolf, Iowa that actually says.
It is on private property.
Sits on private property. So you're more than welcome to stop and walk over there and
Yeah.
look at it. We had no problem with that whatsoever.
He's got a huge yard, I mean, it's,
But there's so many stories out there.
another thing I'd like to add, when we did the rocks, we went and seen a lot of other things. There's a lot of things to see in Iowa if you want to look for them. Just a lot of things. Decorah Fish Hatchery, anything along the Mississippi River's neat. The locks and dams, there's just stuff all over. Like I said, the one rock's not very far from the grotto, there's just a lot of things to see.
I put brochures on the table, that show where the rocks are in western Iowa. These brochures were put out by the Western Iowa Tourism Board. Also on the table is a list of addresses like this, for, that shows you where all the rocks are throughout the state. I did print very many of those. If we need more, Julie said she'd be happy to make copies for me. The brochures, everybody take at least one. If I run out, let me know. I'll get you some more and get them sent to you. That's all I have. If anybody has any comments?
No, we got the blue books around, and the stories and all the pictures are in the blue books in alphabetical order, if you wanna take time to flip through them before you leave.
And it's still kind of my books are still a work in progress. So, yes, Mary.
Approximately how long did it take for each rock? I probably varied, but
I think I read where he tries to get him done in 2 to 3 weeks, no more than that. He tries to spend the same amount of time on each rock.
And you had to furnish him a place to stay in his meals while he's there.
that's what I was gonna ask.
Some people pulled motorhomes up there and let him stay in their motorhomes. Some people let him stay in their houses with him.
You know, sometimes he was close enough to
Home,
home,
they
he
drove
drove back and forth
home.
to home. So,
So you met him personally? Did you get to talk to him?
we never got to talk to him,
Oh.
but we did see him. But like I said, every time I would try to get a picture of him, he would move out of my frame. When we talked to the ladies over in East Iowa in the
Can't remember what I,
museum, I don't remember what town that was even in, she did share her pictures.
Yeah.
But she was on that
Board that got
so she
the
was able
rock.
to get in and get some pictures of him while he painted. So she did share those.
that town we were in, another little story, the town we were in, the guy that designed Chief Blackhawk in Lakeview lived in this town. So when we got back, we had to take pictures of Chief Blackhawk statue at Lakeview and send it to them, cause they were,
Cool.
So, yeah, it's,
Does he have a job that he works at?
they does the mural and the painting business they have, cause
Oh,
he,
okay.
they need a state
Iowa House of
house, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's a little busy then.
Yeah.
He just did
He
that.
does the murals because I mean, you can go and hire him to come paint a mural on the place. I think Manila has in the bowling alley.
Along the
maybe?
bowling alley wall,
Yeah,
yeah.
he has painted some of those murals. And I think he works a lot with Hy-Vee, does murals for
What year
them.
did he graduate from ISU?
I'm not sure. What I have in there that he started in 99, he was painting a rock or something.
He's training his son now to do it.
The few that we've seen, I thought it was interesting that they have all different landscapes and this and that around them. It's because each community has to decide what they want, and they have to raise the money
You know,
to, get the rock moved, and I suppose they pay Bubba to come, don't
Oh,
they?
yeah.
Yeah, pay him
Oh,
and
so
then
that
provide
he
him
does
house and board and,
I wrote it down
all
that
the
it costs,
landscaping and everything.
it costs up to $50,000 to landscape around these rocks. A lot of money.
costs
Does
like,
that come out of some of the Sac County tourism then? Does like for Sac County, or where does that money come from, like with Sac City?
And I talked to Shirley, but I don't know if Shirley could answer.
most of
that.
it's just donations, I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
and raised money. I don't think there's much tax money going to it.
I don't think there's any
No,
tax
I don't
money
think
into it. I think it's money that's raised,
I
yeah.
think our Legion
Yeah,
to the Sac County.
kind of,
Cause Sax Rock's been moved, hasn't it? Wasn't it
I don't think they moved, I think they ended up buying the property.
buying the property that
And
sits
I
on?
think there was a little issue there at first.
But yeah. So definitely when you go in, make sure it's an actual Freedom Rock.
Yes, 'cause Lake City has a rock and it's not a Freedom Rock.
And then
Correctionville has one and
Correctionville
it's not a
has-
Freedom Rock.
Glidden.
Glidden does too? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Did you ever get that painted?
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
painted?
somebody said something the other day to me that they finally got the one in Glidden painted, but it's not a Freedom Rock.
No.
So whatever on this sheet are the Freedom Rocks. So,
I read sometime, I
This is
heard
what
that he was starting to do some outside of the state of Iowa
Yeah, I've heard that he's got a bed in Missouri, I think there's 3 done in Missouri, they're just kinda finishing up the one in Nebraska.
That's hard, that's the one in Nebraska's kinda hard to find, but they've got the miniature Vietnam Wall out there, and,
That was
And-
pretty impressive,
yeah, that's pretty impressive.
so.
But that's
and
kinda hard to find.
I think he's got 2 or 3 in Minnesota, I don't know if he's done anything in Wisconsin yet or not. But yeah, he'll have his work cut out for him, definitely, so. Well, I hope the presentation had it tempted you guys to go out and
Oh, yeah.
take a journey. Feel free to talk to the people, you learn a lot from the people. So, some are pretty good stories,
Yeah,
so, any other questions? Mary, you said you had some down at this,
You answered it about the cost.
okay,
Well, that was a surprise, that cost that
I think his was what, 5,000 to 7,000?
what's that?
That was probably just what he got to
I
paint,
think so, yeah.
and then like
I
I
said I
said,
could've went from these stories from so many different ways, I didn't know.
the rocks are so heavy that it's very hard on machinery and trucks to move them. That gets to be a big expense.
Especially that one in Oakland.
Yeah,
It'd
that
been awesome
rock
to
is
see them
just
do that one
huge.
in Oakland.
They're huge.
So,
And Carrie, you said there's different, types of rocks, like you said, one's sandstone and,
Well, that one, I can't, was that in Leicester?
I don't remember where that was at.
Was that by Sioux Falls? Not very far from Sioux Falls, I know. But you know how when you see a cement block wall, there's little rust spots running down it? That's what this rock is doing. Yeah, there's all kinds of different rocks. I'm no rock hound, so I have no,
And he highly suggests to build the shelters over the rocks to
Yeah.
protect them, and not everybody's doing it, so that's why he kinda started the Rock Foundation, is so they can get shelters on these rocks too.
oh.
he would really, he made the comment in one of his articles that he would really like to see a roof over every one of them, but there's, a lot of them have them, some of them didn't.
So, do they get the rocks for the county out of the county?
Not always, I don't
And
think.
you just think whoever is willing to give up a rock.
Oh, okay. So, your rock in your county may not be
No.
from Sac County. It
Yeah.
could be, okay, gotcha, okay. And then you said that was very interesting, the ashes of some of the soldiers.
Yeah, putting the soldiers'
That's
ashes.
interesting.
And this is a special paint that he uses. It's designed to paint rocks with.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think the
okay.
Sac County one, what I read in there, that's Vietnam veteran ashes, or the,
Do you know the
names
of?
the book didn't, the pamphlet I read didn't say it, but it said they were Sac County residents and Vietnam veterans ashes. So I don't know where they got.
Would he ever do a POW one? Does he have one?
A POW rock. There's rocks that mention POWs on them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I
I
didn't know.
looked
if he-
through my books, I mean.
Yeah.
Specific,
There's firemen on rocks, police officers,
EMTs,
like I
yeah.
said, the Indian chief.
yes.
It's not just always military. Some, like I said, there's a couple of them with fire departments on them and police officers.
Yeah,
That's why she said heroes, not soldiers.
that one time he had the rock in Greenfield painted with all the service dogs and the dogs that go in and find the bodies, He did mostly all dogs that time.
You said you were writing a book. Wanna tell us about it a little bit, like the progress and
Yeah, he's writing a
how
book.
you did? You said you were, weren't you? That you're writing a book?
No, my book's like,
Like the book of Trent.
Oh, okay.
No, she's not ready to,
Whoa,
Yeah.
got her
A lot of
attention.
information.
I'd have to get a lot of probably signed papers from him to.
I really look for him now that they're all done to get somebody to write a book.
Okay,
I thought he was going to eventually.
yeah. It'd be an interesting story.
Oh, yeah, definitely interesting. Some of the behind.
Yeah, cause he has rights, there's something that says he has rights to. Yeah,
It says they're
the
copyrighted,
Yeah.
the images are copyrighted.
copyrighted.
The gonna try and defend it.
So,
And then,
Yeah.
does each, rock have a little plaque or something near it that kinda gives you a description of what's going on? I think Sac City one does.
I don't remember, we were just at Sac, I don't remember if Sac had one or not.
Yeah, it's there, but
Is it-
not all of them do.
Probably what,
Half,
25% of the
yeah.
rocks might have the story available, so you can stop and read it. But the other 75, there's not a lot. His stories I did get off of his webpage.
The one little town we went in down by Missouri border, I don't remember what county it was, like I said, after a while, it kinda, they all run together, but this was a little bitty town, like, smaller than Arthur, and just one lady took that project on, and pretty well paid for it all, yeah.
But that little town was a scary little
That
town.
little-
People
that little
wouldn't
town
get
was
in
a-
there after dark. No way.
Yeah, it was not much of a town.
Did you see the one in Dubuque with the helicopter and all that down by the river?
Is that a real one?
I think it is.
And not, it's outside of Dubuque, there, I don't know.
It's on that island, it's like a little island.
Rock Island?
No, it's in Dubuque, it's,
No, well, that's part of their,
Vietnam thing.
that's part of their veterans
Oh, yeah.
memorial. It may not be a freedom rock.
Oh, maybe it
I, we
isn't.
did, I didn't check, I didn't know that there were certified ones in.
You'll have to find it. Dubuque is Dubuque County or?
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
have
It
Dubuque
doesn't-
County. It says it's in Epworth though, so what
Yeah.
we saw is probably
that's
just part
right
of
along
the.
I
Highway
was gonna
20.
say, find
Yeah.
my book.
Might
with
not
the
be a
D's in
real
it.
one.
I think you said
Yeah.
right on.
Yeah, there, I'll tell you, there's a lot of veterans memorials, and then 2 blocks away the Rock is, so the rocks aren't always in the,
Okay.
and there, like I said, we've seen some really awesome veterans memorials with helicopters and tanks
Oh,
and
yeah.
cannons and, you know, the one little town had life-size statues of all military
That was
people.
down in Oakland.
Well,
That big
and-
Oakland rock, they were all around that. Some of them are out in the open where they're very easy to find, and
Find.
some are like,
Yeah,
what are they doing back there?
doing here,
The hardest one I think we had to find was in Cedar Falls, where we had to stop at the
Yeah.
Welcome Center and ask how to get to where we
yeah,
needed to.
that's in a residential area.
And that had the, what were the brothers' names?
Sullivan Brothers.
Sullivan, yeah.
Which town had the best food?
We ate some really, Sully had, when we were in Sully, we had good food there. That little, we tried to find mom and pop restaurants.
Yeah.
We very seldom ate in a McDonald's or anything.
See, good.
We had some very expensive food in Dubuque.
Yeah.
Really surprised me.
Yeah, we thought we were gonna feed you nice to ourselves that night, that's all.
I could eat a week.
Little bitty piece of meat for like
Yes.
$75.
That was expensive.
And everything, you bought your steak, and then
A la
you separately
carte.
bought your potato, and then you bought your salad, and then there was an automatic gratuity on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was,
That was at the casino.
that
The
was
bar
Oh, the
bill.
casino.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't even have a beer, I didn't figure I could afford it.
Well,
Well,
we
we-
went in the
we-
wrong spot, we went into the steakhouse, we should've went down
Down into
in the
the,
other
yeah.
part of it, but whatever.
Yeah, we've had some good food.
Yeah.
We eat in Guttenberg a lot, we go to Guttenberg quite a bit, and the stadium in Guttenberg's a pretty good place to eat.
That's where we stayed at the Eagles View.
Eagles View,
Doesn't look like much, it sits on top of the hill, but you got a fantastic
Fantastic
view of the
view.
river.
Mm.
Seen a few barges go up and down. Last time we were out there, I was hoping to see a riverboat, but,
the river's so low that.
yeah.
Oh, good.
Anything else?
Oh, very good.
So Wayne, has it changed a little bit?
Yeah.
What year did